Hello awesome people, sorry that I haven't made a video in a while. I've tried to, it's just that lately I haven't been able to muster the passion that I usually use to talk about the things that I usually want to talk about. And so today I'm going to talk about something that I don't usually want to talk about, on YouTube at least. Books. To clarify, I do really like talking about books in real life, but on YouTube I often feel obligated to talk about really depressing things like systemic oppression and wealth inequality and the prison industrial complex. Today is going to be a rather optimistic day though, for I'll be discussing stories, and I truly believe that stories can save the world. So when I was around 10 years old, I became a rather politically active person, and by politically active, I mean I started watching and reading the news regarding the upcoming 2008 presidential election and arguing with my friends about things that I didn't understand. While I was at that age though, watching the news gave me my first incomprehensible glimpses of one of the world's most complicated conflicts, that of Israel and Palestine. I remember watching the opening scenes about said conflict that outlined the creation of Israel as a response to two things: the Holocaust and the need for a home for the Jewish people. Now, on that day, I had to go to school right after watching those first few scenes. But a few days later, while watching live news updates on the conflict, I asked my mother why people were so against the existence of a home for the Jewish people. To give you some context, I went to Jewish preschool. My formative years were spent saying Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, and singing Rosh Hashanah, time to say I'm sorry. Rosh Hashanah, time to take a stand. So I was kind of biased to the Jewish struggle and the Jewish narrative. My mother, however, despite her conservative fiscal leanings, is relatively socially progressive, and she wanted me to see the plight of the Palestinian people in this situation. She said, Tori, imagine you are Palestine, and a group of people come into our home and they tell you that you and your family are only allowed to live on the second floor. But Mom, how do I get food? Well, they give it to you, but often it's expired and not really what you like, and also not very good for you. And eventually they say that you can't even live on the second floor anymore, that you have to live in one specific room with your entire family. And then a little later they say that you can't even live in that room, but you have to live in the room's bathroom. And because you're so cramped in there and due to the lack of sanitation and the smell, you and your family eventually grow sick. Now, Tori, how would you feel about the people who came into our home at this point? I told her honestly that I would be angry and that I would fight against them. This can be seen as a simple children's exercise in empathy, but I see it as much more. I see it as contemporary folklore. Stories were created to distill complex information so as to feed it simply and concisely to the masses. Through metaphors and characterization and more, people, and often children, were able to both become more empathetic to the experiences of others and also glean wisdom from the moral of the story. This explanation of the beginnings of the conflict between Israel and Palestine was not a literal synopsis of what happened. No, my mother used figurative language, a very important literary device, in order to help me better understand the plight of the Palestinian people. I think that stories at their best seek to do this, to simplify real-world situations so that they become more accessible to the masses. Now, sometimes it's seen as non-literary to weigh in on the politics of a story. Stephen King, in It, for example, has one of his characters argue, why can't a story just be a goddamn story? Moreover, in the foreword for my edition of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, a critic claims that the book is fundamentally about what it means to be human, ignoring the vast political and social context of the characters' lives in early 20th century Brooklyn amongst other impoverished immigrant families. Here's the thing, every book is about what it means to be human. But the goal of stories should not be simply to talk about what it means to be human, because we all know what that's like, but to talk about what it means to be a specific type of human. And through the linkage of our connected humanities, we can better empathize with those who have experienced things that we ourselves have not gone through. And hopefully, as a result, we will be moved to social and/or political action to improve the lives of those who feel the need for their stories to be told in the first place. And so, that's why stories can save the world. That's why I believe in literature. That's why I'm going to be an English major. Peace. Did I wear this fancy outfit just to film a YouTube video? Yes, I did.